Story time with Stephen McLean. Yes, let me tell you the story when I was like 16 years old. We ran track in Trinidad. It's either you do track or you run soccer. Those are the main two sports back home, like in Trinidad, and crickets, because we know we're from a British colony or whatever, and that's how we adopt cricket from the Brits. Yay, go Brits! Anyway, so we ran track. I ran track. I grew up running track. I don't run track anymore, but when I was like pretty much in my teen years, growing up into like maybe like I stopped when I was at 21, and that's when I was like my final days of track. It was like that's it. It was Hampton Games. Hampton Games was one of the most biggest event in the Caribbean, and me being from Trinidad, that was really big because it was hosted in our country. Now, we had all these different Caribbean countries coming down to our country at the home game to compete at this big event. We had Jamaica, Barbados, we had Antigua, we had the Virgin Islands. You pretty much name it. Every single Guyana, Grenada, all the Caribbean countries meshed down in this one giant arena. That's what we call it because pretty much when you go outside there, it was pretty much a battle zone. So it wasn't a stadium to us. It was more like an arena. Like gladiators, like, go Sparta! Like you go out and you start slashing people. It was the same thing when we go out on the track. We all were friends outside the track, but once we step on that track, it was like pretty much enemies. Like that's how it was. The guy next to you is not your friend anymore. We had to run heats, semifinals, and at nighttime we ran the finals. That's where the big lights comes on and the stadium is packed. Everybody's all ready to like get excited and watch the main events. And the daytime we had to run to get into the main event, which was held at nighttime. So I remember we ran 400 meters. That's the event that I ran. I ran 400 meters and the 200 meters. The 400 meters is where you run the whole entire track. And then the 200 meters where you run half the track. So it's a curve and a straight. All right. So I remember in the locker room where the officials had us sitting down in this waiting room, and they would call our names out like in the heats, and they would call like which heats we're in and what lanes we were in. I remember I was in heat 2, lane 4. So there was like Stephen McLean, lane 4. Then they'll call some other guy, da da da, lane 5, da, da, and we had to line up, and then the officials will like guide us out to the track, and that's where we get organized for our race. There was this one guy that stand out from all of us. Nobody knew who he was, but he was like really big in this country. But in Trinidad, nobody knew who he was because it was his first time coming to our country. I ran my race. I came second in my heat, so that made me qualified for the semifinals. All right. So I warmed down, stretch or whatnot. So me and my other friends, we went up to the stands to watch our other guys from our same track team compete. Hopefully to like cheer them on and hopefully they get in. I remember him coming out and he was like probably like 6'2" at the time, 15 years old, a kid, 6'2" kid, and everybody was at that time was like 5'8", 5'9", so we were pretty much average, and then he was like whoop beyond average. That's how tall he was. I remember the stadium got quiet, so quiet, because there was like, this guy is the guy to look at, and this guy is a guy we gotta look out for. Must I remind you, up to this day, I don't know who he was. So they got down on the blocks, they set the blocks or whatnot, get ready for the race. The officials shot the gun in the air, and everybody got out the blocks with full force, pretty much like racehorses at full maximum around that curve, because it was a 400 meters. It starts off on a curve. And I remember specifically like within 20 meters or 30 meters, so on, this guy with his long legs, from that distance he looked like a giraffe amongst rabbits. So you had these rabbits with these little fast turnovers like, and then you have this giraffe with these really, really long legs just stretching. And the way it looked to us from our perspective, he was walking and these guys was running. Like he was like literally like walking like la da la da la da la. But the thing is, he was opening the gap. He was beating all these dudes, and we was like, what the? As he finished the race, he stopped. This is what he did. He stopped at the finish line, turned around, facing the other guys who was still struggling to come in for that race. They were still struggling. They had lactic buildup everywhere. Their bodies were stiff, numb, rigid, and heavy because of the lactic buildup and lactic acid from that race. Faced the runners who are coming towards him because they haven't finished the race yet, and he did the Hulk Hogan. You know the Hulk Hogan when he did that? He did that. We was like, oh my gosh, who is this dude? He made it to semifinals. Everybody was like, oh my gosh, this guy is freaking ridiculously crazy speed. Like, who is this guy? So now it's the finals. Everybody's like, yeah, we gotta win this. We gotta win this. It's a big game. We gotta represent our country. Trinidad and Jamaica, we have rivalry. Like when it comes to track and field, like we always like, it's friendly competition, but we always rival each other when it comes to track and field. We are considered the two top best Caribbean countries when it comes to track and field. So finals came, bright lights on. You heard everybody in the crowd screaming your name. I can literally hear him coming behind me. I can hear him like he's right behind me. I can hear his breath breathing like behind me. I was like, I know he's getting close. He's getting close. But I gotta keep pushing. I remember him as he passed me, he looked down because he's so tall. And he just looked down at me like this. And smiled. And just went past everybody, beat everybody with crazy distance, and he won. So Jamaica won. As we finished that race, I remember to myself saying that Usain Bolt will be the world's fastest man one day. You're now watching the Stephen Vlogs. Let's vlog along. Sit back and relax and eat now. Let's watch along. Let's watch him vlog. Let's watch him vlog. Yeah.